Welcome back. I think every time I put out a new video, I'm always saying, sorry for the long pause in between videos, so I'll just kind of skip that. Today, we're going to interview someone that is attending a hybrid PA program. I believe this is the first time that we've ever interviewed someone that's at or attending a hybrid PA program. So, for those of you who are considering that or thinking about attending one, this might be helpful for you. So, this is the Franklin Pierce PA program located right where I am here in Austin, Texas. So if you're interested or thinking about a PA program and maybe just have some questions, I'm going to let the student that we're interviewing today talk about what she's experienced. She's been in the program for a few months now, and she has some really good insight as to what she's experienced thus far. So I'll just let her go ahead and take over. Hopefully today you'll learn something about a hybrid program. Thank you. Okay, well, welcome back, everybody. Today we're interviewing a student that, I'm going to let her go ahead and introduce herself and where she's actually in school right now. So if you can go ahead and tell us which program and your name, please.
Hi, I'm Neza Stefanik. I am in the Franklin Pierce University hybrid program at the Texas Austin campus. It is virtual at this time, but we definitely have a couple weeks later on in throughout the terms and throughout the entire year, or the entire 2 years that we will actually go to campus, do our skills, practice, be able to test and try all of our newly acquired PA skills out on each other, and then get ready for practice.
Well, welcome. I actually live in Austin, so if you ever need any tips about places to eat, I'm the one to talk to.
I've heard there's so much good food, so much cool stuff. So
There is, and then there's a PA school. No, I'm just kidding. So tell me, if you don't mind, a little bit about your background. Like, how did you decide to even pursue PA? Like, were you doing something before, or how did you first decide to become a PA?
So it really started, I guess, when I was younger, maybe teenage, high school. I grew up a competitive athlete. I saw a lot of my friends and some of my most competitive peers. I saw them suffer from some pretty tough sports injuries, and I've had some of my own. And it really interested me seeing them and seeing myself coming through those injuries and the surgeries that were sometimes needed to fix the injuries, and then the recovery, that kind of process, and then of course seeing people bounce back after their recovery. So I think that kind of sparked my interest in medicine, and over time, I became more interested in some like the surgical procedures. I would watch videos on YouTube. I thought, oh, this is really cool. I'm definitely something I want to do. And so I went to undergrad at Drexel University, and the reason that I chose Drexel was because I love that the students could get a hands-on experience in the field before graduation through their co-op program. And so I actually was 100% set on going to a school that provided that, and Drexel was the place. I grew up outside of Harrisburg, not super far from Philadelphia. Um, so I throughout the years, then I wanted to do co-ops with something in medicine, and I pursued some of my own, and I found a lot of experiences in Philadelphia hospitals, but ultimately I ended up at a co-op in an orthopedic office in my hometown outside Harrisburg. And there I was able to shadow doctors, PAs, PTs, OTs, everybody. I was able to do rounds in the hospital and go into the OR and see patients in extended care facilities. And what I really found was that the surgical and the care that PAs provided, and the surgical aspects that the role included, were for me. That was something I absolutely loved. And throughout the rest of my undergrad, I pursued a little bit more research and did some other things in orthopedics, and eventually then went on to do a master's in biomedical sciences at Philly College of Osteopathic Medicine. Kind of got my hands a little bit more into some of the required courses for PA, and because at that point when I decided I didn't have some of what I needed, And that would give me the opportunity to learn more about medicine, but also to be able to, complete those prerequisite courses that I needed. So from there, I, you know, got interested in all different things and saw a lot of different avenues of medicine. So I said, PA it is. This is what I want to do, and PA fulfilled all of the different avenues and kind of checked all the boxes. So here we are.
Okay. So when did you first learn about PA? I mean, most of us, we grew up know about doctor or nurse, but at some point, a lot of people at some point later discovered PA. So how did that come about for you?
So it definitely was something that was on my radar throughout college, and um, actually a lot of my friends from college were in a program at Drexel where they did their undergrad and PA school right there. And so I was like, oh, I like that. That seems really cool. I worked with a lot of PAs in different clinics. So in orthopedic clinic, um, worked with some in the actual hospital, and just interacting with them kind of showed me what they did and what they really meant for the entire team. Everybody, of course, knows doctors, nurses. Those are, the staple pieces that everyone is familiar with. But working in the clinics and working beside PAs, I was like, this is really awesome. They do so much more than anyone that I had met previously even knew. So it 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 wasn't something that I was 100% on my radar, had 100% on my radar, from the beginning. But once I got to shadow and see myself in the clinical setting, seeing PAs, I was immediately drawn. They're some of my best mentors and some of the people that I keep in touch with throughout the years who've helped me to understand, what I want to do and what I'm interested in and how I can fulfill those goals of mine. And so they're awesome. They're the most down to earth, best healthcare workers, I think.
Why not become a doctor? Why'd you choose PA instead of going to medical school?
I think I have always had a strong connection with people, and I like to hear their stories. I like to hear, what brought them to this place. And for me, the time that PAs were able to provide to their patients, and get that really really good strong H&P, their history and their physical of the patient, so that they had a really strong working knowledge for the future. They always had something that they were focused on, and they had a bigger picture that they wanted to learn a little bit more about the nitty gritty of it. But they always showed that there was, something more that they cared about than just that one specific issue of the patient. They cared about the entire person. There were so many things that I felt PAs had the time and the ability to connect with their patients to be able to learn about them so that they could provide stronger care long term. And there is a lot that goes into medical school and the residencies and the time and the life that you give up or you sacrifice through that. And I have some friends who are in the process right now, and some of my best friends just took their boards, and I'm so excited for them. And but I looking back and looking at them doing it, I know it's not for me, because it is something that takes much longer. And there's once you're kind of into that one area of medicine, and PA gives you that ability to say, hey, I want to do ortho for now. Maybe in a couple of years I change my mind and I want to do emergency medicine, or I want to do OB. So it gives you the flexibility. And I think I'm someone that is constantly learning and constantly moving, constantly doing things. So the chance and the flexibility of PA is what really drew me to it. And it's a little quicker to get in there and start.
Okay. So once you decided to pursue career as a PA, what did you need to change, I guess, your college track, your undergraduate degree in terms of the coursework? Because obviously now you need to take some sciences like your anatomy and physio, or were you already on that pathway?
So I had a lot of the courses. I kind of set myself up by doing the pre-med, pre-PA, pre-health prerequisites. And so I had all of those boxes kind of checked. And then there were just a few things that I needed to add after I was done with my undergrad, and I fulfilled those, the anatomy, the physiology, all of that, in my graduate courses, so that really checked the rest of the boxes for me. Um, I could definitely have done those additional courses in another manner, maybe at a community college or uh, another university in the area. But this was something that I felt like was really going to build up my knowledge and give me a better appreciation for what I was learning in a more health related sense, more medical related sense. So that was the way that I leaned.
Okay. So what did you do? Now, I'm sure at some point you realized you'd need some patient care experience. So what did you first start doing in order to get some patient care hours?
So initially, after my freshman year of college, during the summer, I did a nurse certified nursing assistant course at one of the community colleges in the area. And it took, I think, maybe like 21 days maximum. It was long hours, long days in the classroom and doing some clinicals. But overall, I think it very essential for my ability to get patient care hours throughout my the rest of my undergraduate and then during my graduate and afterwards. It gave me the ability to do things and be right there with all the patients, and know the skills that I needed to just start. And from there, I really I'm I pride myself on being kind of a go-getter and knowing that things aren't just going to fall in my lap. And so I put myself out there. I reached out to some contacts that I had, and I reached out to my network and first asked if I could shadow and just kind of see what the flow of those specific offices or those specific providers were. And from there, I kind of built up an undergraduate co-op program at one of the practices in my hometown, and I got most of my patient care hours there. And then later, I started at one of the emergency rooms here in Philadelphia, which is quite an interesting experience. It's you meet some very very interesting people, and I got a lot of my patient care hours there, and as well as just shadowing and observing and assisting with different procedures or things that need to be done, assisting patients, and really got a feel for the whole spectrum of the work that needs to be done in a healthcare setting.
Okay. What about volunteering? I mean, volunteering is a key part of the application as well. What were you doing to get volunteering hours in addition to all of your other work that you were doing?
So actually, during my freshman year of college, I went on a medical brigade to Honduras, and we had set up a little clinic in basically the coffee regions in a little school, and it was amazing. It was so cool. We raised, I think, close to $8,000 for supplies and just general needs for the patients that were there, whether it would be toothbrushes, toothpaste, hairbrushes, things like that. And then we also got medicine, and we raised money for providers to go with us to be able to provide care to those patients. And so I did a whole Spanish medical course before and leading up to it. So I kind of knew a little bit of the wording and some things here and there. And so I did a lot of it. A lot of my volunteer hours there and through the course. And then just throughout my entire time at Drexel, we did different volunteer hours. And I was in a sorority that we did different philanthropy. We worked with patients that were deaf, and one of the deaf and it's one of the schools here in Philadelphia for the deaf, and so we worked with them a lot, uh, and raised money and did basically like educational programs, educating others in the university about deafness and the struggles of hearing loss. And so I did that. And I also worked or volunteered at, it's called Manna. It's a food service provider for patients in Philadelphia that may have chronic illness or are currently going through, say, chemo or some other long-term illness that they need good, wholesome food or special food to be provided for them. And so I would go during COVID, I would go 3 hours a week and we'd make meals, we'd package them, we'd deliver them to these different Philadelphians that needed them. And it was very fulfilling. It was a lot of fun. I met a lot of really interesting, really cool people throughout. And there's people that you meet that could be CEOs that were volunteering of major companies, and they'd be standing right there next to you, scooping stuff and cutting things with you, and it was very humbling.
Did you have to take the GRE to apply?
I chose programs that I did not have to take the GRE for.
Okay.
I had taken the MCATs before, and I knew that I just did not want to
Okay.
sit for another or study for another period, and kind of run through that whole gamut. So I chose schools that did not require the GRE, and it worked out.
Great. Now, you did mention briefly there let's go back to COVID. So, how did COVID impact your pathway, or did it impact your pathway at all?
Yeah, so it definitely did. I had originally in my master's thought that I was going to do a thesis on some joint replacement research and infections, and COVID stumbled upon us in the last term of my first year, and so it kind of rerouted everything, put us online, and swayed my and kind of cut off my ability to do any bench research for my thesis the second year. So it guided me to a forensic medicine, forensic biology concentration in my master's, and that really showed me a different aspect of medicine that I don't think I would have had otherwise. And it taught me about trauma and physical and mental, emotional, all of that, and those aspects of healthcare. And so that really guided me to want to be able to have the time with patients and spend the time learning about them, understanding their story, being able to provide for them in a way that fits them and fits where they are in life and where they are, as a person. So I think that really guided me and helped me to understand what other avenues I could take, and what other interests I had in medicine.
Okay. How many times did you apply to PA school?
I applied 3 years. The first 2 years, I had interviewed and I was waitlisted a couple places, and eventually the waiting and waiting game, that PA school and the application process provides. I It didn't pan out for me, so
Mhm.
I reapplied again at the end of last summer or at middle of last summer, I guess. And I started going from there, and I really totally revamped everything. And I made huge adjustments last year before applying. I completely revamped my application. I started from scratch and started a new personal statement, and I think it made all the difference.
Mhm. So, since you did, as you said, you had to apply it a couple times, and I know you just said, you revamped your application, but what were some, other than the personal statement, what were some of the other things you felt made you more competitive for this last time that you applied?
I think just expanding some of my my recommendations letters, um, just to other individuals that I thought maybe had a different outlook on, who I was as an individual, and somebody that I had another PA that I worked with every day, in and out. I spent tons of time with her. I had her write me a letter of recommendation, and I think, you know, that ability to know me in the everyday clinical setting and see how I worked with patients, really gave her, the grounds to be able to write a letter that truly exemplified who I was and who the provider I would be. So I think that was a big aspect, and also just basically putting myself and my own personality into all of my answers to questions, or just even explanations of my past experiences, just explaining them in a way that really showed who I was, rather than being a cookie cutter, or saying what I thought maybe admissions committees wanted to hear.
Mhm. How did you go about choosing the programs to apply to?
I think after a lot of reflection and writing down and looking into schools, seeing what I wanted to actually gain from the school, and what the programs offered. And for me, one thing was the systems blocks. So cohesive classes and cohesive courses, throughout the different terms, was something that I found to be uh, a better choice for me as a person. I thought, I would really like to learn all of cardiology in all of its different aspects, together, rather than say, hey, we're going to do anatomy, all of anatomy, the entire body. First term, the next term, maybe we'll start touching on cardiology and orthopedics and musculoskeletal, all of that GI. But I like the idea of lumping everything together. So that was something that I looked into more when I was applying and choosing programs, um, to that I could feel myself fitting in with.
Now, what about your interview? So obviously you had an interview. How did you prepare for the interview?
So I actually had done some interview preparation with one of my counselors from graduate school, and so I spent some time going through the questions, looking them over, and really expanding upon those questions. Also, just throughout different blogs on PA Network and all over the internet. There's tons of different ones, that I was able to just run through some questions, and I broke down each question that I felt like was pretty common over all of the different sites. And I came up with the pieces that I wanted to share when those questions, or a question along those lines, were asked, because there were certain things that I found myself constantly repeating, or constantly I was seeing a theme through all of my answers. And for me, that was something that clearly was important. So I wanted to make sure that was known, throughout my interviews, and that my passion for medicine and my passion, for helping others was really showing through in the different avenues, that the questions were asking. So
Okay.
it took a lot, but it was a lot of kind of sitting down and really just going through it, and knowing what points I wanted to come across in my interviews.
Okay. So did you specifically want a hybrid program, or you just chose this at a later date? This is where you wanted to attend.
So I had applied to both in-person and hybrid programs.
Okay.
Uh, at first, I wasn't 100% certain what I wanted, and I had interviewed and had been waitlisted at programs that were both in-person and hybrid, as Franklin Pierce is. And it was kind of fell into my lap. And I did have some courses during my undergraduate and my graduate degree that were online, and so I knew I could do it, and I knew that I had the discipline to be able to say, hey, I have classes that and these certain things I need to get done. I'm on my own timeline for them today, day by day, rather than, we have exams and quizzes set up at different times that you synchronously do, but a lot of other things are asynchronous, so you do them on your time. And I knew that it was something I could put myself through and be have the I guess I can't think of the word the the discipline, I guess. I had the discipline to be able to do it, and it worked out.
So what was it about Franklin Pierce that attracted you amongst other schools that you applied to?
Uh, Initially, I thought it was really cool that they had this program that was virtual or hybrid, and that the staff and everything that I read about Franklin Pierce was really strong, and I read that they had other programs that have been long standing and were really great. And I had heard the name multiple times in passing, and when I looked into it, it fulfilled, many of the boxes that I wanted. It had a lot of providers from different areas, areas of medicine that were teaching. There's a lot of experience in the professors, and then also it had that systems block. And the courses were set up to reflect that. I really like that, and I like the ability to be able to kind of set my own schedule day to day, and some of the flexibility of saying, I'm not ground just to this classroom right here, right now. And some days you don't need you need to be able to break free from class. And some days you're just not able to sit for 12 hours, 8 hours a day, and everything be kind of thrown at you in all these lectures, and not necessarily have the time to process it in a way that works for you. And for me, I am one of those people that sometimes in the middle of a lecture, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just heard all of that and I typed a bunch of things, but I didn't grasp it. I don't know what I just heard. And so the ability to stop, be able to, go back later, or to be able to rewind, and listen through, really understand, is important for me. It's important that I, wasn't just sitting and being present in a classroom where I was actually learning in that environment. So for me, it was that aspect where I knew I could kind of adapt day to day, what I needed, and basically just build my experience off of um, my own learning, my own educational, I guess, and educational, my own educational needs, I guess. I could kind of adapt day to day.
So when did you start the program?
We started in March of 2024. We started the first week of March. So it's a little different than a lot of other programs. A lot of other programs start, say, August or end of summer. But I don't mind. I don't mind. It was, now that summer's come along, we've gotten one class under our belt, and I really feel confident about, going through the summer and still being able to kind of manage, having some time with family, friends, and also understanding, coursework, and being able to set up my schedule for that.
So now that you've been in about 3 months, how do you find it communicating with your fellow classmates? Since again, this is a online format.
So it's actually been really awesome. I had become kind of friends with the other people in the program, just based off of, one was that one of my closer friends in the program, she actually lives in Baltimore. So we bonded over being from the East Coast and being close to each other. There are a lot of kids in our class, well, a lot of my peers, that are from Texas, that are from Las Vegas or California. So we're all on different time zones, but there are a lot of courses and there's a lot of cohesion between us as people because we all are kind of sharing the same experience, and we come together and we set up meetings to call and discuss things on our own. But then we also have certain courses that we meet and we do virtual labs, and we'll go through different things with each other, and review different, exams, or like physical exams and all of that. And we'll talk through it, and we'll provide little hints of information here or there. If there's a lot of individuals in the program that this isn't their first career, they're not fresh out of college.
Mhm.
Some of them have been respiratory therapists. One was a dietitian, and many were EMTs, or worked in different areas of medicine. One student, she was actually already in medical school, and she's now in PA school. And so we each have different things that we're able to provide. And as a group, we've all really kind of built off of that, and we've used it to our advantage to work together and create good friendships. And a lot of these people I talk to every day, and I've never actually met them in person, but in 2 months I will. And I know that there'll be people that I'll be, lifelong friends with, because we've gone through something so crazy and so difficult together. And we've really grown just in the last 3 months. It's crazy what we learned from, what we learned about ourselves from 3 months ago till now is like different people.
So tell me a little bit about like an average week. I mean,
Mhm.
for another PA program, they might go to school, Monday through Friday morning till afternoon, but how does it work? I mean, are you in class every day during the week, or tell me a little bit about how a week is in a hybrid program?
Yeah, so I have this really awesome calendar that I look at probably like 20 times a day, so I know exactly what's going on and what I need to do and what's coming up. Uh, but I would say pretty much Monday through Friday, I'm getting up at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, depending. Um, but everything is based on Austin Central Time Zone. So for me, it's a little easier to have an extra hour kind of built in the morning, before things really kick off. A lot of our quizzes and exams, they're synchronous. So you have to show up, at 10 a.m. And the exam starts at 10 a.m. or the quiz starts at 10 a.m. And then you do that. And then a lot of times your day is kind of up to you from there. I personally will, look through lectures. I'll look through the first set of the lectures that I want to do that day. I'll read through them, and then I will listen. I'll take my notes, just a general outline, and then I will listen to the lecture that's recorded, and I'll take my own notes on. Well, some days I'm typing them out, and I'm furiously typing. Other days I'm drawing things out on my iPad, kind of different processes for different classes. Cardiology, I found, is a lot more drawing and writing things, and other courses, it might just be, writing it out on a Word document or typing it into to flashcards or different things. And then I usually take a break around lunchtime. I try to walk my dog or get outside, do some sort of physical activity, and then I will come back, do about 5 hours or so, 4 to 5 hours of classwork or review, and then I'll take a break for evening for dinner, and usually after dinner I'll spend maybe like another hour or two just reviewing flashcards and going over things that I might not have understood from the lessons that I learned that day, or things that I just wanted to expand upon. And then, quizzes are pretty often. They're basically every day we have a quiz every morning. And you wake up, you do your little review, take the quiz, and then you carry on with your next set of things. And it's really great, the setup of our quizzes and everything. It really forces you to be on top of your work every day and stay, up to date and stay with everything. And you kind of set your own schedule. Say, hey, I want to do, basic sciences right now, and then I'll do anatomy and physiology this afternoon, or I might flip it the next day. It just depends on whatever mood I'm in, or, what classes I know we have an exam coming up. I might focus a little more heavily on those, and um and kind of put the others on the back burner for a little while. So it depends day to day, but it's pretty steady across the week, Monday through Friday, like generally about 8 a.m. until I'd say 5 p.m. and then a little review in the evening.
So how long is the didactic portion of Franklin Pierce?
So it started May or March 3rd, and then it will go to around March, the beginning of March next year, so 2025. So it's essentially 12 months.
Now, when you come to the clinical rotations, will you be doing them here in Austin or will you be doing them elsewhere?
So since we are a hybrid program, a lot of us don't actually live in Austin. A lot of us live, different areas of the country. So we have provided our contacts in the areas that we live, or areas that we know individuals, or we've given information about where we could potentially do a rotation. So where you might have family, or a place that you could stay, or a place that you could see yourself enjoying. So we have provided that information to our clinical year advisor, and so she and that staff is getting everything kind of set up for us, and they're doing the best to get us those clinical rotations where we live, or somewhere that's close to home, or where we have contacts. But all in all, we kind of have signed on to the fact that we might have to come down to Austin for a rotation, or we might have to go to Montana or Colorado, or someone might have to come to Philadelphia, and for me, I don't mind the ability to travel, and I don't mind the ability to meet new people and go new places. I'm totally open to it. I'm really excited to come to Austin. I've never been to Austin. And I've heard there's so much great food, great fun. It's everything. So I'm excited to see new places and
So
test it all
when you come to Austin as a class, you guys obviously we're famous for barbecue. Do you guys already know where you're going for barbecue?
out. I don't know if the
Well,
the
you should know.
Austin, I know. Okay, what's the number one place?
Would you believe it's called Franklin's?
No way.
So there you go.
Okay, I won't forget it then.
Exactly. So you're Franklin Pierce students, you guys need to go to Franklin's.
Okay, all right. I'll put that on the list. I
And then
love a good
afterwards,
foodie
now to be
spot.
proper Austin students, you guys need to go out and get a pair of boots and a hat.
Okay,
I think you
all
guys
right.
all should take a white coat ceremony photo with cowboy hats and cowboy boots.
I think we need to make that happen. I
I
can make
think
it
so.
happen. That'd be
Well, I
cool.
appreciate you taking this time to talk to us and give us some insight into this PA program. I know the director and we've spoken before, but here's an opportunity for other students to learn about this school that are certainly considering it and, the sort of the benefits of it and hearing firsthand from somebody who's attending. This is the first year, right? You are the first class.
Yeah, we are the inaugural class, so we're we're working out some kinks here and there for things, as new programs always do. And we're learning together, but it's overall been a really awesome experience. Yes, it's an adaptation for everything. And every year is a little different. So we're working through it, and we're learning lots and powering on.
Well, I applaud you for sticking with this. A lot of people after one or even two might just surrender and go on to a different career path. So, hats off to you for persisting. Obviously, it paid off. And you obviously sound very passionate about this. I'm sure you're going to be a great PA after you graduate. So, again, thank you for taking the time out today to, kind of inform or educate some of our students who listen to these. And again, just appreciate your time and good luck to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. And, always reach out if you have any questions or, if you want to know any more about the program, we're always here. We love it. And any of the students that you meet will share their passion for it.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks so much.